You're listening to the Aftergrad Podcast. My name is Victoria.
And I'm Robert Kane, and we're your fellow Aftergrads trying to find clarity and security in the post-grad moment.
On this channel, we discuss the societal pressures that stand to mold us into inauthentic versions of ourselves as we try to make our dreams a reality.
We welcome you on this journey as we try to navigate the pandemic, bills, careers, and who knows what else.
But today, we are focusing on how strangers have impacted our lives since us coming here, and now soon to be leaving. Looking forward to meeting new strangers, or maybe not, and we're gonna hop all into that. And also,
Absolutely.
At one point, we were strangers,
right.
So you never know who or when a person can step into your life and completely change your course or your journey in a good way.
In a good way, a positive way, an unexpected way, an uncertain way. You just never really are sure, right? I mean, that even goes to our relationship about how we started this whole journey when we were moving to DC.
Yeah.
I mean, I think by most people's definition of a stranger, we would probably have been considered a stranger. We hadn't really talked in 4 or 5 years, but nonetheless, there was always this synergy, this connection that we had with one another. We were always like-minded, and especially after we recognized that we both had no idea what we wanted in the next steps after graduating, we then recognized that there was some commonality there, right? That we would then pursue whatever it is. We started a platform, we started a podcast, but I think the topic for today is really reflecting on the strangers that you've met in your life, the strangers that come into contact. You never can really be entirely sure how they're going to influence you or your journey. I know you've influenced me and you've expressed vice versa, and we're currently working with mentors who started off as strangers to us. So that's really the topic of today's discussion.
Yeah, I think it's so on topic to bring out this game called We're Not Really Strangers. I think it's popular now. I know 2 years ago when I first bought it, it wasn't that popularized, but just to break it down, there's 3 sections in here. One is, I want to make sure I get this right for you guys. So the first section is perception. The second, give me 1 second.
And they get, I guess, a little bit more deep as you go and progress upwards.
The second is connection. And the third one is reflection. And so I kind of think of that as the layout of our episode as well, and things that we hope to talk about. So I guess, can we, before we even hop into these questions, what was like your perception of, well, actually, you know what? No.
But I love where you were going with that question.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, like, I guess, what was your perception kind of walking into this as we moved out here to DC?
Yeah, perception as in the scenario that we were about to embark in together, or perception of you as a stranger or someone that I didn't necessarily know?
Let's combine that question maybe. So, like, the perception of joining, like, a person that you haven't met in 4 years in a new city,
right,
and embarking on something that you've never touched or done before.
Yeah, exactly. To answer that, going back to kind of, I'm going to answer it with a short story, but when I decided to study abroad, when I first went into the advisor's office, I basically said, I'm too comfortable in this environment. I need something to shake up my reality. I need something to destabilize or to make me a little bit more uncomfortable. So send me to a foreign country, right? And I had never been outside of the United States. So in terms of this scenario of moving to another city with someone that I hadn't seen in 4 years, with a stranger, quote unquote, for me, I internalized that as an uncomfortable situation, something that I had never done, something that I wouldn't foresee myself doing, and that excited me. That excites me to do those types of things. And it helped that we had a similar connection and interest in tennis, so I knew that there was at least that would bond us and hold us together. So for me, that was the way that I thought about it, right? And then you as a person, I mean, I knew you were always a hard worker. We bonded over some of our dreams that we shared with each other when we were at our tennis tournament. So I knew that
only 16.
Only 16, right.
Yeah.
And then it was crazy that you reached out and you told me that you were applying to similar scholarships like Fulbright and etc. So from that point onward, I knew that there would just be this bond between us, and I was extremely excited to explore that. So I think this game is going to see, have I learned you better? Do you know me?
Right.
Let's get into the game.
You want to pick first?
I
You
can.
pick a question, and the person who reads off the question, the other person has to answer it. Quite simple, quite easy. There's no point system to this.
Right.
You simply enjoy the points of, like,
seeing how well you know someone and the topic that comes up. And level 1 is it's like the flat level. It's the easier level,
it's
less
kind of the
deep.
easy one. So honestly, we might just do one
Just
from
do
that
one.
one, and then
Okay.
the first level's in this section here.
It's right here, right?
Oh,
Level 1?
I don't know why. It's
level 1's right here. Okay, that's okay.
I must have
Perception.
flipped it around.
No, it's all good. All right, let's see. All right.
Oh, you got a wild card.
Wild card.
I'm not really for wild cards.
Let's do a different one.
Yeah.
Let's do a different one. Okay, so the question is, what's the first thing you noticed about me? And I mean, we met when we were 16, but then we reconnected and we've been together.
I'm basing it off of when we reconnected.
Yeah, please.
I am a person, I can't help it. I always, like, I can remember a fit every time. Mm-hmm. So I remember vividly what you were wearing and the sneakers you had on. Mm. You had the Converse on. And I just bought a pair. Mm-hmm. And so I was like,
right, we similar in style.
Yeah, and then like you had like the bags, the big kind of like, travel bags. Bag, yeah. I was like, oh, he's a traveler. Mm-hmm. This is gonna work. Yeah. This is gonna, like, I think that's the first thought that I thought of is like how you I'm just
travel.
No, how compact you were as a traveler. Mm. I noticed that too. So I was like, oh, he's organized and he travels well because it was like the type of bags you had.
Mm-hmm. That was definitely an adjustment because when I did my first study abroad trip, I had 4 suitcases. Yeah. I ate like extra bag.
Exactly. That's why I was like, oh, he's traveling.
Yeah,
like the way you
that
had
lesson.
that like big. Yeah, I was
you
like,
gotta pack it all in there, right? I'll pay an overweight fee, but when you're trying to get that extra bag in, they really get you, and they know that you can't toss that bag out. So yeah, okay, wonderful.
And I noticed like you hadn't changed drastically much from the last time I saw you, so it was just like, what?
Right, and you had done some traveling too, so yeah, you knew that would be perfect, especially since at that point we hadn't even gone to Tulum yet, which we've shared on previous episodes.
Yeah, and that's why my thought went there because we were going to Tulum, exactly. So I was like, oh, this is gonna be an easy trip.
This is gonna be perfect, yeah, and a perfect trip it was. All right, your turn.
Okay, let's see. On a wild card. Okay. Do you think I intimidate others? Why or why not?
Oh, I'm weak. That's a funny question. I sometimes let me focus my answer on you. Right, me, Leo, trying to turn it around on me. I think you're not an intimidating person, especially once you get to know you, right? It's very apparent that you are very sweet, loving, kind. You don't try to intimidate. But just from having conversations with you on the side and us interacting with one another, for a fact, you have had moments where people have said that you come across as intimidating, and for me, it's very comical because I know you, I know how your mind works, and that's never the energy. That's never the intent. Yeah. But that can sometimes be a product of people that are very sure of themselves, people who are willing to take risks, people who just vocalize what they're about and be very shameless and open about it. And I think you have all of those qualities. So I think that's probably why people might find you intimidating, but that's up to their interpretation.
Honestly.
Yeah.
Yep.
All right, level 2. To be entirely honest, this is the first time that I'm playing this game. So okay, level 2.
With wine.
Right?
Actually, yeah,
we should have done that.
Tomorrow's happy hour.
Happy hour, right. We'll catch up there. So, it says, finish the sentence. When I'm hurt...
Is this another wild card?
It's not a wild card. It's a fill in the blank, essentially. Okay. So, that's kind of fun.
Okay.
It says, when I'm hurt, I blank. Both players.
When you're hurt?
Yeah. I'm confused by this ending. It says, I guess it's saying both players answer it?
I'll finish the sentence for you.
Oh, okay. So, when I'm hurt, I...
Don't show it. Will never, you just don't know.
Yeah.
Or, from me, really, really picking up on things, bestie standpoint, I know, like, if there is something that's, like, kind of fussing with you, your patterns kind of shift. And it can be very slightly, too, but, like, I pick up on it, and, but I guess I won't say anything, because I know, like, when you're ready to talk about it, but, yeah. But I should probably act on it more. Like, I should say, like, hey, I see you.
Yeah. It's also different too because when you're living with bestie, that's when you really, really get to know bestie because other times you have besties, you're not really living with them. But for us, it's really intimate. Like we're living in this 300 square foot basement unit. So, we're spending every hour together. So that's definitely me. I not refuse, but it is difficult sometimes for me to express when I'm hurting or when I'm going through something. And, with therapy, that'll change over time and I'll be a little bit more open to that. But it also just, it comes from, yes, trauma, but also the need to make sure that things get done, and I don't want the hurt to weigh me down. And, you've heard the story all too well. So yes, that is definitely me. You have picked up on that well, and then you, like you said, I do share it eventually, and I'll let you in.
But it'll be like after the fact.
It'll be after the fact, after I feel
recovered, and then I'll be like, I was feeling it too, man. You weren't even showing anything. Yeah.
That's me. All right, all you.
Kineki. Oh, okay. Am I supposed to ask you this? Okay, I think I'm supposed to ask you this.
Oh, okay.
Are you lying to yourself about anything?
That's a deep question. But shouldn't it be about you?
No. Oh, I think maybe it is about me. Okay, and you're supposed to answer it for me. Do you think I'm lying to myself about something?
Okay. No. I love that question because that's so important, because that'll really make you double think. That'll make you really sit down with yourself like, ooh, is this all a game? Is this a simulation? Am I really in the space that I need to be in? We have so many conversations about this and it's constantly shifting. The answer is a strong no, because we've just done the heavy lifting to make sure that
we're staying in line with what we want to do.
Precisely, that part.
I think last year was probably the very last year of me shedding off the final things that I was lying to myself about. Now I can't think of anything.
And sometimes it's not even lying to yourself, but that's the way the question was phrased. But sometimes you just haven't had the opportunity to unlearn certain things. So there's, the act of you lying to yourself, but then there's the act of being brainwashed. And I think we did a lot of work to remove and cleanse ourselves of some of the brainwashing. And that's really why we started this platform too, because we felt like we wanted to help people see a different opportunity for themselves, especially we're about to enter a recession, for goodness sake. So there's lots of opportunity there, but if you're not prepared and thinking towards the future, I think this could be a very difficult moment. So we need to stop lying to ourselves. If anyone out there is lying to themselves, really just sit down with yourself. I mean, I can't ultimately tell you how to work through that. I can only share our experiences, but it's really just being honest, really sitting down. And I know for us, we have vision boards. We'll sit down with ourselves and see, okay, this is the way that I want my life to end up. But try to say to yourself, okay, what if none of this happens? Or what if only half of this happens? And say, is that okay? Did I need to do everything that I planned out for myself? So absolutely not. You're not lying to yourself about anything.
Thanks, friend. Hey. Yum. All right, now we're entering into level 3.
Level 3. Is it my turn to pick? Yeah.
It is. Got it.
What do you think I love this question because we have so many similarities. What do you think our most important similarity is?
Our most important?
That's tough. That's tough because we talk about this so frequently. We always are having conversations just about how we're in so lockstep.
Okay, what's most important similarity?
Our most important similarity
is what we demand from life, from society. Like, I don't know. I think, let me elaborate a little bit more. I think we really bond over our goals and like how we go about getting those goals. I think that's the biggest similarity there, because a lot of people can be like, oh yeah, I want to hustle and I want to be out and I want, this, that, and the other, but everyone's hustle and grind looks different.
Right.
But I think ours looks pretty similar in how we want to do like the healthy hustle and how we want to give back and how when we do reach whatever height or that goal that's like monetary or like tangible, right? Long as whatever we do receive, and whether it's money or whether it's a car or a house, like I think I have a quote on my vision board, and it's like making an income while making an impact. And I think that's something that we share a really big similarity, and that's very important to us both. It's like we make great income one day and while simultaneously making an impact.
Yeah, no, I love that. I think the impact is my primary reason, the sole reason, and a personal lifestyle, but really it's the impact for me. Talk to you about the reason why I really want to be able to give back for my parents. I really want to help them retire. But then also the spaces that I've been in, I'm just always trying to think about how I can improve an environment based on my presence. So I'm always thinking about, right now I'm personally thinking about how can I leave a legacy at my university? How can I continue to give back? I know I just graduated, but currently I've been working on ways that I can try to improve the space for the following students, just because I had personal issues with various ways that certain programs were structured, and I want to be able to help especially creative people that don't have that community a lot of times in those spaces thrive. So yeah, it's always about the impact for us. I love that similarity. I think that's perfect.
Hey. Okie dokie.
No. Ruh-roh.
Huh. What can I help you with? Should I pick another one?
Yeah.
Okay.
I mean, yeah.
Pick another one?
Yeah, pick another one.
Okay.
You help me with so much. I mean, that's the way I was going to answer that question. You help me with so much, so there's really not... I mean, we do everything together right now, so I mean, we're always on the same schedule, but yeah.
No, I like this question better.
Yeah, of course. Chop.
Why do you think we met?
Oh my God.
I think that's a great
Oh my goodness. Wow, we were actually just having a conversation about the spirits, the ancestors, the universe working at a higher power that we can't even begin to understand. And you know, I want to come out and say I'm not religious, and I'm working through my understanding of spirituality, and I'm getting closer to what that feels like for me, and it's feeling very good actually, especially with astrology. But even aside from astrology, just the spirits and the ancestors, I'm learning more about that. I think we met because this path has already been written for us. I
really do.
Yeah. I was actually talking to one of my friends too, you know, they've been going through a difficult period, and just to not even go into that situation, I just told them, like, you're covered. You are safe. Your path is already set. You are a hard worker. Don't let negative thoughts or comments from other people impact you. Don't let that weigh you down, because you are already set and destined for greatness. So don't even worry about what other people have to say. Don't let what other people think about you impact you. Specifically us, I think we met because this experience that we're trying to create together, the Aftergrad Podcast, even aside from that, our personal interests and cryptocurrency that we've been learning. If you didn't listen to our episode where we were talking about getting scammed, definitely check that out, because that was a whole number. I think as well, the way that we love numbers but also love the creative and entertainment space and that synergy, and we respect it, and we think that one can't live without the other. It's just quite insane how similar our minds operate. And I think that...
And even in the similarities, like, in the differences, they complement each other.
They do.
And so that's... anytime, and I don't really question, you know, like the journey or whatever, but anytime I might get there where I'm like, oh, okay, actually I do get there, sorry. I really think about us meeting. Yeah. And that reminds me that there's something meant to happen, because it just, our story, like when we first met, that was eerie too. Like how, like that plane situation, I'll never forget that. That type of spirit stuff has never happened in my whole experience of like just with people. Right. And that one's for the books for later on like in our years. But yeah, just that moment then, and then coming forward to this moment now, and nothing shifted in terms of like the energy that's between us. Right. And us applying, I mean, 4 years not speaking, us applying to
the same thing.
Both of us
not getting in, but getting to the next round. Right, like, getting to the next round, like literally having it dangling. Yeah. And we both applied to programs that only admitted 1 or 2 people.
And then I think about the moment as well, like me posting about me getting to the second round. Right. I did not want to post
But if you didn't, I wouldn't have known.
I think about that all the time, because I was embarrassing for me to post that.
Yeah, don't be
But it brought me back to you.
It brought you back to me, likewise. Oh, but it's small moments like that. That concludes this game. I think we just wanted to see how well we've gotten to know each other. I think...
But also, like, for those of you who are coming on the channel and who may be new to this channel, who may think that we are strangers. I hope from hearing our answers, you might find that we actually are quite similar as well, and that you find your happy place here at the Aftergrad Podcast.
Please do. But then also to encourage people, I think this episode really was inspired by wanting people to also reflect on the strangers, quote unquote, or just people you've come into contact with, reflecting on those small encounters, because you literally never know what those moments meant. So really, especially, we're about to enter summer. Some of you might have been graduating right now. Congratulations there. But yeah, just think about the people that you've come into contact. Maybe just reach out, just say hello, how are you, check in. Because especially if you're class of 2022, you're entering that transition that we are always harping on this podcast. So that's how our journey unfolded, and that's possibly how your journey could unfold too. So we just wanted to encourage people to, reach out to those strangers, because sometimes they're not even strangers.
Exactly. And leave your heart open to like the idea of meeting strangers as well, because when we come out of college, we feel like we have our group, our crew, and those are going to be like the ride or dies to the end. And I especially, thought that heavily, but now I had to mentally make the note of I still want to experience other people and to, hear other people's stories. And gosh, where do I start with this? When the way I met my mentor here, it was through another stranger. It was her mom.
That's spiritual.
It was another moment. So like leaving your heart open, and I could have easily, just decided to block. I had my music in. I was at the metro station, and I was really jamming out, and I was about to go into an interview. So that's when I'm really trying to be centered.
Right.
And this woman just walks up, and those people who just walk up and they just tell you anything.
They just talk. They have no inhibitions. They
and
just
you're
sit
like,
there.
I didn't say anything.
Right. What about my business? Can I just be, please?
Exactly.
But they won't let you be.
Yeah. And so she sat next. She asked if she could sit next to me. Of course, I could scoot it over, and then I adjusted my earbuds. That's the tell-giving sign that like I'm listening to music. And then she starts off with, a year ago I could not walk, and I was like, oh man, isn't God good? I said, God is good. Yeah. And she's like, all the time. And I was like, okay, cool. Yeah. And then
okay, cool. Thank you. All right, goodbye.
And then she starts talking to me some more. And I literally sat there, breathed in, breathed out. And I said, I'm going to tell you exactly what I said, because I'm a very spiritual person. I said, God, what is she trying to say to me today? I took my earbuds out. I paused my music. And I had a conversation with her. Yeah. And our conversation led to me meeting her daughter, who is now my mentor. And I love her so much. Right. It's changing my life so much. That's and I'm incredible. So excited to what's in store for our relationship. But can you imagine if I, did not make that mental note and I chose to stay in my quote unquote comfortable spot of like music and not,
reach out or just engage this old woman. Talk to a stranger.
Exactly. And it could be anybody, and you never know who you're talking to. I want to stress that too. You never know who you're talking to, especially these college kids coming out with some big egos, thinking like, I'm not talking to anybody without a degree, or I'm not talking to anybody who hasn't established themselves. Yeah. You never know. Like, honestly, if you're that type,
unlearn it. Unlearn that.
Like, that's
please.
So
definitely.
That's nasty to me.
Right.
That's very nasty.
It is nasty, and just change the behavior. But I love the way that your story unfolded with your mentor. For me, I also have a mentor that has been pouring into me, and I think it's great because, again, they're complementing each other. Your mentor was introduced into your life from a stranger that you just randomly met. For me, I forced mine to come into my life, essentially.
But something gave you intuition, so keep looking.
Oh, absolutely.
After the first one not going so well.
Yes, that's true, because on a previous episode, I definitely shared that there was a photography assisting role that I was going to go into, and I reached out and I was actually in communication with the individual, but then something fell through and they didn't get back to me. So I said, okay, that's fine, my opportunity will come. And it's great because, again, the universe working in mysterious ways will send you the right person for you. So then I was on LinkedIn and I just reached out to a photographer, fashion photographer in DC, and kind of created that connection with an entire stranger, right? So we got coffee, we chit-chatted, we learned more about each other, shared each other's work, etc., and realized that we really think similarly. And this is someone who's an entire generation above me, and that's oftentimes how mentorships work. But it's great to see how much we connect, even though this person is about 20 years older than myself. So I think, again, just going back to why this episode, I think there's different ways that you can leverage the strangers that come into your life, and there's different ways that we can facilitate and create those relationships, right? I think, actually, I know when I was back at university, there were certain people who would hesitate to reach out, or they would feel like they were a burden when they were reaching out to strangers. This is specifically in a networking sense, but it still applies, I think. They would feel uncomfortable reaching out because they didn't want to burden someone, they didn't want to be a nuisance, they didn't want to come across as too pushy. And I understand the reservations, I get it, but I also just want to encourage people to just go for it, right? If you're being genuine, if you're being true to yourself and authentic, the worst that they'll say is no. We always hear that. But again, on the flip side, there's situations like us, there's situations like you and your mentor, there's situations like me and my mentor that showcase how positive relationships can be birthed from strangers interacting with one another.
Yeah, and I want to say the leading light for sure is the intuition.
Yeah.
Intuition, acting on the intuition, but in addition to that, you kind of see how when the person unfolds to you and vice versa, how you guys' paths work, and it should be easy. I want to kind of stress that for like indicators whether or not, because a person is healthy for you coming into your life or not. I know I've seen a lot of things around TikTok and Instagram that says if this person no longer serves you, then cut it, So we have a lot of people going out into society like on guard about like guarding themselves from toxic people and so forth. But also change your perspective and just meditate on, drawing in good people. So back to it should be easy. Like as I met my mentor, we started to talk, and then we made plans to meet. It didn't happen within the first month, and then a month went by, and then she reached out. She said, this is actually perfect timing. I believe in good timing, yada, yada. So we met up, and she said, this is crazy. I just spoke out that I wanted and declared to myself that I wanted to change my course of direction, and I actually want to start doing one-on-one mentorship and teaching in like the specific career field that I'm training for.
Sure. Yeah.
And like, then you came. It just worked perfectly. Like her schedule, she just had a baby, and so forth. Everything simple. It shouldn't be forced. It shouldn't feel too forced.
Right.
And if you try to force the fit with a person, maybe that's one indication that like maybe this is not it.
Right.
Also, like as you move, like you might be with someone or a friend, it might just be for the season.
It might just be for the season.
Exactly.
Right.
And like when it just don't force it. Like
that goes
our
back
season,
to the idea of not lying to yourself.
Yeah, not lying to yourself. And I really truly am a believer of people coming back into your life.
Yeah.
Especially with our story. Like I think that's one great example of it.
Yeah.
So when I do let someone go in a season, ultimately I'm not surprised when they come back into my life unless they did some wrong stuff. It's just like it's a quick block.
Right, of course.
And you have to be stern in that fact. That's the part where you should be stern about people using you and taking advantage of you.
Right.
But that should not, all that riff-raff walking around saying I'm safe with my 3 friends and that really blocks you from a lot of opportunity, because ultimately the old school way of connection is people, person on person interaction, and that is timeless. That will always be standing, that cannot be deleted.
Yeah, absolutely.
So
you've been working with your mentor for maybe 2 or 3 months at this point.
Yeah.
Has there been a piece of advice that your mentor has shared with you that has altered your perspective, has changed your life, or just something that you're gonna take with you? I know I can speak for me, but I wanted to ask you first.
Yes. So we've been so ask the question one more time, because my brain first went to something that she's like ingraining in me, like teaching a lesson that I'm having to keep a mental note of currently. But were you saying like a saying that she has spoken into me?
It could be a saying, it could be a life lesson that maybe she has experienced, something that she had to learn the hard way, a mistake that she made and she wants to share with you so that you can learn quicker and not make that mistake.
Yeah.
You know?
I think it's be kind to myself. learning the practice of forgiving myself, because what I'm diving into requires a lot of failure and a lot of being, a lot of the times putting myself out there and being vulnerable, and which can make me emotional. But, and me being a person that doesn't like to show too much emotion, that I have a really hard time forgiving myself for having emotion. And so I think that's the biggest lesson that I'm learning right now currently with her. And then, so in addition with that, I think the act of, you know, living that is journaling. So she's been getting me back on my journaling grind. I have seasons where like I'll journal every day or I'll journal every week, but I've been kind of getting off the boat with that. So she's definitely been grounding me back into my reading or my writing habits.
Lovely.
So, yeah. What about you?
For me, so my mentor is in the industry of photography. So aside from all of the photography training that I'm learning, you know, how to light an individual, how to insert props into a shot, all of that, that's great. I'm learning how to be a better photographer. That's cool. But I really, you know, this is a very holistic woman who takes great care of herself. She's in great shape. She's healthy. She has a strong relationship with food, which I admire. So I think for me, someone I mentioned maybe on the previous episode about how I hate to cook. However, I'm starting to like cooking and I'm starting to enjoy making food for myself and taking more care. So I think her insight, specifically in the nutritional realm, that I'm internalizing is you really have to care and consider what you're putting into your body on all fronts. And, you know, that's on the food level, that's on the supplement level. And, you know, this is someone that gets blood work done to know where she's deficient in certain nutrients. And I've been slowly getting into it. I've been slowly trying to listen to my body and learn, you know, what nutrients or what supplements I might need to feel better. Because I will say certain times, even now in spring, as the world is starting to liven up too, I do feel a little tired or groggy sometimes. And I want to make sure that I'm attacking anything that could be inhibiting my overall wellness and health. So I think for myself, focusing on nutrition is one way that I'm doing that. So I just love watching her. She fasts every single day. Not that I'm trying to fast right now, but just all of these different tricks to staying younger, to remaining healthy, feeling energized. You know, it's so incredible to me how this person fasts every single day, doesn't eat any food until 1 p.m. but is always just so full with life. And, you know, her body has been trained. She's trained and done various things that work for her. Obviously, everything that one person does doesn't work for everyone, but still, it's just very inspirational. Because I think, you know, we'll reach out to mentors a lot of times specifically for one reason, but it's oftentimes, I think, some of the learnings outside of that industry or outside of that reason that can be the most influential.
For sure.
So that's what I've been internalizing, just focusing on overall health. You know, we've talked about working out, we've talked about mental health and things like that on the channel, but really, especially this summer, I want to do a lot of reading just on small things. If I need to start meditating, if I need to get into journaling, how can I be the most energized, the most focused, the most distraction-free individual I can, so that I can show up on all fronts for myself.
I love that.
We got some news to share with all y'all.
We're coming into our second to last episode for the season. We hope that we're no longer strangers to you guys.
Yes.
And that you guys stay with us as we are going to continue our season 2 in the fall. This is not coming to an end.
Absolutely not.
Only
so much
to
more.
a resting season for us. So this is our moment, like you said, to really kind of focus on ourselves and to just get back and enjoy the sun.
Yeah, enjoy the sun. Enjoy the summer. To go home. That's also, T, because we told you guys that we were trying to figure out where we would be going next. And for us, at least in this immediate season, we're going back home. So for me, that's
no shame in it
at all. It's just a break, you know, to just recalibrate, to figure things out, right? We know that there are different locations that we want to be, but for right now, I think it's just best for us to take a break, to reflect on everything, all the work that we've done. So I'm going to be going back home to Little Rock, Arkansas to be with my mom for the summer.
And I'm going back home to Dallas to also be with my mom and my dad. And there's no shame in that. I do want to say, for people who may have left and then come back home or living with their parents right now, I think I stressed this in another episode, but if you have that good reputation or that good relationship, with your parents and things can work out for you to just be somewhere rent-free, milk that.
Please.
It's okay to milk that in this season. I know a lot of us want like privacy and stuff, but like you were saying, we are actually entering a recession. So just be very smart and don't act on your ego and don't act on what you feel like an adult should have, and just be really realistic with yourself in this moment because things are really coming around the corner for us, and you want to make sure that you're prepared for the long haul. Because I'm looking at where I want to be by 25, and if I am to go to another city right this moment, it would not be smart at all. Because I would likely be coming back home when I'm 25 when I don't want to be home. You feel me?
I feel you.
I see you feeling
I feel you.
I
feel you. Y'all, I love a podcast. I love a podcast because you get into a conversation and, you plan a little bit, you have an idea of what you're going to talk about. But that point about the ego, I think that really struck with me because I have an ego when it comes to how hard I hustle and when I'm working hard and I feel like I'm not doing enough, or, oh my God, I'm going home, so I'm not living out my after-grad fantasy, I'm not doing it the right way, what does this mean for myself? I definitely have worked through that, and I'm able to say, it's, like you said, there's no shame in it. And it's crazy because you were talking about the recession. My dad just called me 2 or 3 days ago and said, son, are you saving? Do you have money in the savings account? Because a recession is coming. We lived through a recession in 2008, but we were really young. We were under the safety and network of our parents, hopefully. That's not the reality for everyone. But if you were younger, you didn't really internalize it in the way that we're about to internalize it if we actually have a recession. And that just hit my spirit. Thank you, Dad, for sending that notification, that SOS, because that's super important to think about. But that's so scary for us. So I think now is definitely not a time to let ego cloud judgment and to feel any shame in making a decision that's going to serve yourself in the long term. So thank you for those words. Oof, I felt that.
In the midst of all this change that's coming for us, because the pandemic, that's just the beginning. It's starting a ripple effect. I'm realizing that. But let's remember to stay delusional in like what we're here for, what we are personally put on earth to do, and everything else will follow. And I promise you, things will line up in the midst of chaos. So let's just keep
I'm gonna hold you to that. I'm gonna hold you to that. I believe you, of course, but I'm excited.
Speaking it.
We do.
And I didn't get a chance to say like what I've been actively practicing with my mentor is saying that it's going to happen. Like somebody was asking something, and I was like, "Oh, I'm a beginner." She said,
Yep. Come on.
Caught me.
Yep.
Caught me. No, you're what? No, you're not moving to Dallas. You're moving where? Oh, yeah, that's just no.
Period.
No transition. Yeah. And she caught me so quick.
Absolutely.
So we have to do that in the midst of all of this transition, whatever the heck is going on. Say where you're going to be.
Yeah.
And
it'll happen. We'll see it through.
Yeah.
Thank you, friends, strangers, newcomers, for tuning in to this particular episode of the Aftergrad Podcast. You can follow us on Instagram and stay updated with all of our latest releases on Instagram, which is at the Aftergrad Podcast.
And if you enjoyed our visual version, make sure to subscribe to our YouTube channel. There you can be notified of our latest releases. We would also like to say that we would appreciate a 5-star review. Not only does this make us happy, but it helps our family grow.
Yep, and as always, we still want to hear from you. So in our upcoming episode, we have a very long Aftergrad case study that we're going to be sharing with you all. So we still want to hear from you. You can send those in now throughout the summer so that we can prepare for those case studies when we enter season 2 of the Aftergrad Podcast. You can send those to our email address, which is theaftergradpodcast@gmail.com, or you can DM us. Our inbox is always open.
All right.
That's it for this episode. Yeah, you guys, thank you for joining us, and we'll see you in our final episode of the Aftergrad Podcast.
Yeah. Bye. Okay, this is the Aftergrad Podcast. Bye.
Bye.